except for the resin. So it's a blue and white and gold on the background with our textured cross. It's glazed with some folk art cocoa bean antiquing medium, and then we're going to put a little resin on that. So here's what we're going to do. I have already completed each step on each one, so I could show you the entire process without waiting for something to dry. So I'm going to move those up here. We're just going to start from scratch with this one. Can you see this one? Let's see. I hate that you can only see like this. It's very bothersome, but we're going to work through it. So this is the piece that we're going to work on. And we're going to do, okay, so she wanted 3 blue and 3 gray. I have 3 blue, so this one needs to be gray. So it's the same process, whichever colors you're using. And this color I'm using is called ash. So I'm going to put a little bit on my palette. So annoying when things don't work out, isn't it? So annoying. Let me try to get that off. So this is acrylic paint, folk art ash. And we're going to use a little bit of acrylic white, just Anita's. This is just Hobby Lobby brand. There's a little bit of those 2 colors. So you can intermix any colors you want. The color I used on this blue one here is this color, which is Desert Turquoise by Americana. Hey, Judy too. So you're going to use the same process no matter what main color you use, whether it's green, blue, orange, purple, whatever. You're going to use the same process. So I'm going to use a palette knife. And the first thing I'm going to do is put my knife in my main color, which for this particular one is gray. It's ash, okay? So I'm just going to use my palette knife and skim over my wood, leaving some of that wood showing. So you see I'm just kind of patting it in onto the bottom of my knife. And then kind of tickle it on. Leave some of that wood because you want to see a little bit of wood, a little bit of gray, a little bit of white, and then the gold comes after. So let's get that edge. All right, so that's our main color, which is the ash. I'm going to wipe that off. Now we're going to go into the white, and this is just Anita's white. Just the same technique, just put a little bit on the back of your knife, and then we're going to just tickle some in. Voila, just like that. That's all there is to it. So you could do this in any color you wanted. You could do the blue, you could do gray, green, orange, purple, whatever you want. Just do your main color first, and then add in a little bit of white just to give it a little extra oomph. Okay, so that is our first coat. The next thing we're going to do is add a little gold right under where our cross is going to be. So it kind of makes the cross pop when we do the resin. Okay, so that goes up here, and we have one that's dry and ready to go. And for that, I am using Folk Art Metallic Antique Gold. I know it's backwards, my apologies. Antique Gold by Folk Art Metallic. So I'm going to put a little bit of that on my plate as well. And basically I want it kind of in the center. I want it to surround my cross and not hide all the other colors I have on my palette. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just pop my palette into the paint, get it on the back of the palette knife. This is so distracting. And I'm going to come right down the center. I'm going to get a little more on my palette. And then I'm going to come across where the horizontal line of the cross is going to be. So we'll come across like that. And that's the end of that step. So you're going to let that dry. And guess what? By all miracles, it's dry. Okay, so the next step is adding your cross, okay? And Carla stole my Venetian, so we're going to use paint to demonstrate this, and hopefully it won't be a disaster. It won't stand up as much, but it'll be the same technique, okay? Let's see, I'm trying to see if there are comments. I can't see anything. The internet is not my friend today. So I'm going to use a palette knife again. Actually, I'm going to use this long, narrow palette knife. See, it's kind of the same width, except for a little smaller on the end. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to make my cross using, we're going to pretend this is plaster that somebody stole from me, but it's paints. But you're going to use either modeling paste or Venetian plaster. I'm going to get a little more than normal on here because I want it to have some dimension to it. So I'm going to come down. This will be my vertical. A little bit more. That's the vertical end. And now we'll get a little bit more on our palette. We're going to come across both sides to create our cross. Now this is just paint, and it needs to be Venetian or something a little heavier bodied, but it's the same application, okay? Same technique. I think, Denise, that the heavy body paint is still going to flatten out a little bit. I want you to look at the dimension and texture to the modeling paste. It has that nice texture and movement to it. But you could use heavy body paint if that's what you have. I'm a proponent of use what you have. So you definitely could use a heavy body paint. Just make sure you let it dry really nicely. So we're going to set this one up here, and voila, I know this one's blue. But the next step, once your Venetian or your paint is dry, your next step is glaze. Now I'm going to show you and tell you a little bit about glaze, all right? So what glaze does is make your cross, let me put one under here so you can kind of see. So what the glaze is going to do is antique your cross a little. You see how the color difference is here, how the one on this side is bright and white and kind of in your face. You could totally leave it like this, and you could totally leave it like this in resin, or even just leave it like this with a poly on it. But I like to, since they're on like a stained wood block, I like to dirty mine up a little with glaze, and that's what this does. It's like an antiquing medium that you apply and then rub off to kind of antique it and make it just a little bit aged looking. Okay, so we're going to do that, and to do that, I'm going to use this. This comes from Hobby Lobby, I think. Yes, I can see the Hobby Lobby sticker, and it's called Folk Art Antiquing Medium. I know that's backwards, so you'll have to trust me. Folk Art Antiquing Medium, and the color is Cocoa Bean. Now, if you're in my group, you probably already have like a different kind of antiquing medium. You probably have the Liquitex or Aqua Cream, but this is great for beginners or somebody who doesn't want to spend a bunch of money. This was, probably $4, I don't know, something like that. So this is pre-mixed glaze, and it's really good for smaller pieces, okay? So I'm going to shake this up a little. I'm going to get a new plate because that is covered with, or I'm going to get a different plate because that one's covered with wet paint. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of this antiquing medium to my plate right here. And you don't need much, maybe a dime size, that was probably excessive. And I'm going to use a chip brush, or you can use a large paintbrush. And all I'm going to do is dip into my antiquing medium. See how brown it is? And you're going to just rub it on your cross, get it in all those crevices. now you're going to take a cheesecloth or a t-shirt cloth or something along those lines. I just have a paper towel because all my stuff's gone. And you're going to wipe off any excess, okay? Now I like to just leave it heavy in the cross because it gives it that nice textured distressed look. So that is the last step before resin. So you could just leave it like this and just maybe spray it with a poly, or you could do resin, which is what I am going to do to mine. Okay, so I have two of them that are finished. Make sure you can see them. So I have two of them that are finished completely. So we have our background color, the blue and the white, with a little bit of gold overlay under the cross. The cross is made of modeling paste, and then we use the folk art glazing medium to dirty them up and give them that little bit of an antiquing look. Okay, and you can see no two crosses are ever the same. They never look alike. So what we're going to do now is resin. So I'm going to put my gloves on real quick, and before we resin, it's time for a sip of wine. Who has wine? Nobody? What color blue? This blue is, I know it's backwards, I'm going to read it to you. It's Americana Desert Turquoise and white, okay? So always mix either a lighter color or a white in when I'm doing my crosses. So I'll do a blue and a white, a gray and a white, a green and a white, something along those lines, okay? Just to give it some oomph, so it's not just one flat color. Right, so we are gonna resin these. I'm gonna show you just how easy it is. I'm gonna put some gloves on. These are gloves that already been used one time, but we're gonna make use of them again. And this will be my last live from this studio. We will be moved full-time into my new studio as of tomorrow. I'm gonna take my watch off. I'll leave my bracelets. Somebody was asking about my bracelets on the Shattered Circle webpage. I've been wearing these for a very long time, and actually I took them off before I had hip surgery and forgot where I put them, and I found them last Thursday when I was packing to go out of town. I found them and put them back on, and they shall stay there, I guess, until they all break off. I love those bracelets because you can shower around and sleep in them. They're like invisible, not even there. So, what color green would I recommend? Geez, any green you like, okay? But pick a green that is a little bit brighter than what you like, because as you can see, this blue is this color. So when you add the antiquing medium, it's going to tone it a little bit. So get something a little bit brighter than what you think you want. So if you get a bright green, it'll end up being a warm green. If you get a warm green, it'll be pretty dark. Okay, so I'm going to mix up some resin, and I'm only gonna mix like a 1/4 ounce total. So 1/8 of an ounce of hardener and 1/8 of an ounce of resin. I'm gonna pull this over here and elevate so I can see what I'm doing. I know y'all can't see because I'm using the iPad, but we're trying to make good out of bad. So I am going, this is art resin. This is what I use exclusively. I have been for about, gosh, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. I've used almost every resin on the market, and this is the one I like best. This is the one that gives me, it's got staying power, and it has the highest rated for non-yellowing. All resins will yellow eventually. This one's the highest rated. It's not cheap, which is why we teach you how to use just the itsy bitsy bit. So I got a 1/4 ounce of resin and a 1/4 ounce of hardener. We are going to stir this booger up for 3 minutes. So if you have questions about anything we're doing here on Art Shattered or in the Shattered Circle. Now's a good time to ask because I have 3 minutes on my hands to, hang on, let me see what that said. I have time to answer any questions you have. Somebody just asked about staining wood. Let me tell you what I did. I took a 2x4, 8 foot long, and I used dark walnut gel stain. And I apologize for the echo, my room is empty. I used dark walnut gel stain, and I used a chip brush, which is this, just a cheap chip brush you can throw away. Brush the stain on a small section, and then use like an old t-shirt to wipe it off. Then you do another section, brush the stain on, wipe it off, brush it on, wipe it off, until your entire board is covered, and then you can cut your crosses to whatever size you want. I did 6 inches, so that gave me 16 crosses out of one board. Hello, Stephen. So, I'm gonna keep stirring until our 3 minutes is up. So I wanted to tell you guys, next month we're doing another challenge. It's a $10 4-day art challenge, and we are going to be doing rain boots with sunflowers, and it's going to be a super cute project. We'd love to have you. If you've never done one of our challenges, you are going to love this project. It is super cute, and I'll be posting a picture of that soon, and it's only $10, and we do, it's a process of 4 days. We do a step every day for 4 days. Somebody's talking about Vegas. I can't even see. I can't read anything, guys. It's so hard. I keep having to bend my head down to read. But we're going to do a step each day over the course of 4 days, so it's not overwhelming. It doesn't take up half your life or 3 hours in an evening. This will stand up, Denise, just like this. It will stand up. I call it a shelf sitter. But, oh, goodness gracious, I slung that everywhere. But our challenge will be next month in April, and it's $10 to join, and we're super excited. We're super excited about our project, so we hope that you'll join us. It's going to be a good time for all, and it's going to be a project where you have the option to add glass or not. Okay, so it's rain boots with sunflowers, and we're going to paint the sunflowers. So at the end, you'll have the option to add glass or not add glass, depending on your affordability and or your desire to do so. So it's going to be super fun, and we're really excited about it. So we hope all of you guys will join us. Yes. I think, I don't know that we've been doing this for 3 minutes, but it seems like it. Thank you, Lou. Thank you. Okay, so here is what I do let me wipe this off. Here's what I do when I have a project that I want to resin that doesn't have glass, okay? So this piece does not have glass, it's just the cross itself. So what I like to do is just pour a little bit of resin on my project. That's plenty. I'm going to save that I'm going to blow dry the others and finish them in a minute. But then just you can see I put a little bit of resin. Can you see it right there? Just take your hand, and all you want is just a thin layer, enough to make it pop, enough to make the colors really stand out and pop. And there, let me get it, I got it on the side, so let me wipe that down. So there you have it. That is our finished project. So I'm going to leave it laying on its back so it dries without running down the wood block. Can you see that pretty good? Really pretty. See the difference in the color, how it really, the resin really makes that color stand out and pop. Really makes a huge difference there. I'm trying to let my phone catch up so I can see that. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this one. So I've added a blob of resin, so we're just going to use hand. Just spread it out. So I usually just add, and I do these in mass quantity, guys. I'll do like, 40 or 50 at once, maybe 10 of each color that I want to do, and just do every step all at once, all 50 at once. So you'll do all the backgrounds on all of them. Then you'll do all the gold on all of them, all the crosses. So it really makes it a lot easier to do. So then when you do your resin, you're going to want it probably, I don't know, I can do all 6 of these with a 1/4 ounce. So keep that in mind, okay? That's a 1/4 ounce of resin total, and you can see I barely made a dent in that, but I'm actually gonna reset that over there. I know I just did the antiquing glaze on that, but we're gonna take a chance. Make sure. Voila. Perfect. Can you see that? I sell these for 25 a piece in my new store in Hernando and on the website. They're 25. They don't have glass, it's just plaster crosses. So let me take this off. So after we're done, I'll come back and complete these up to the point of plaster, because I don't have plaster here. But I'm going to take these gloves off. Let's see if I can do it without making too big of a mess. And I do see I have a little bit of let me wipe that off. Some resin on this one that's not finished, and we'll wipe it off so it's not icky. And I am going to move all of these back over here. Actually, I'm going to turn the camera up. Hey guys! So I am on my iPad because for whatever reason my phone will not connect to the internet. I'm not sure what the malfunction is, but here is our finished cross. This one is done with Desert Turquoise Blue. I know it's hard to see that. Let me flip that so you can see it. I know it helps. Desert Turquoise Americana and a little bit of white. Then we used metallic gold, antique gold. You can see the gold like here, 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 just under the cross. Am I making you guys dizzy? Crazy. And then we use Antiquing Medium, the Cocoa Bean by Folk Art. This is from Hobby Lobby. It's not going to be where the paint is though, guys. This is going to be where specialty stuff is. It's not going to be where the paint is located. It's going to be where like fabric mediums and stuff like that is on the same paint aisle. The other one is the gray, and it is white with ash gray. Oh, you see I got that for 34 cents from the lobby. And then just a tiny amount of resin. And voila, you can make one for everybody and spend maybe $5. I guess the price of wood is crazier than that now, isn't it? So let me fix this. I can't stand that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it was quick and dirty, and it's probably echoey in here because my studio is down to the bare nubs here. And yes, the Venetian plaster. You can see in this one, I used Venetian, and you see how it crackles? See the crackles in the cross? I love that. And the glaze makes those crackles really stand out, and that's why I like Venetian plaster. That's why I prefer it, and I use it a good bit. Now for all 3 of those, we didn't even use half of what we mixed. So less than 1/8 of an ounce for 3. So I could totally do all 6 for less than 1/4 ounce, and that is good stuff, guys.